Hey everyone, it's Jewel Fagudi and welcome to the journey to stardom. STAR stands for Simply Terrific at Rocking Your Purpose. Today, we're gonna talk about how I landed my first major entertainment opportunity while I was working in tech. Y'all, there's a lot of lessons, a lot of things that were like, wow, did that really happen? And I just wanna share it with y'all to inspire y'all to continue to go after your dreams. So let's get it. Okay, let's dive in. So it actually all started when I worked for Minecraft. So let's go all the way back because this is when it happened. Before I started working for Minecraft, it was actually around the COVID time. So I was living two lives. I was working in tech, holding these product manager roles while creating my own content and being a filmmaker. So it was really hard to figure out, how do I merge the two while still showing folks around me hey, I'm serious about my job and doing what I do. So I get opportunities here and there at my previous role when I worked for Xbox, where I would hold presentations or workshops, and people always loved my personality, even when I was holding meetings or little get-togethers. So there was already ways for me to find opportunities to show my light and just who I am. And then I got to work for Minecraft. And everything changed for me. It was a couple months in, and they have this thing called All Hands. So All Hands in a lot of companies is exactly what it sounds like. It's usually a company-wide call where they give you all the major updates. So it was February, Black History Month, and I got selected to be the employee from Minecraft that got to present the updates. So being who I am, I had so much fun with it. I was practicing for it, and when I did it, let me tell you, I got so many folks telling me how great I was. Even got nods from the exec, and how folks were literally saying, yo, she's a star. One of the execs was yo, I wish I could literally bottle up all your energy and sell it for $1 billion. And I'm look, that's what we like to see. So little did I know that being on that webinar, being on that company-wide webinar, literally led to me being able to be hosting a segment of a show streaming to millions every single month. So yes, fast forward, because folks had recognized my personality, and I had a really good friend that was she was kind of looking to pass the torch. Minecraft Now, which is the Stockholm team, they reached out to me and they're hey, we have this special segment called Block Buzz, and we think you would be great to do it. So obviously I'm this is great. And it was a great outlet for me because the role I had at Minecraft was the polar opposite of entertainment. It was a technical PM. I technical product manager. I like to tell folks it was doing Calc 3 every single day. I know when I first came into the role, I already kind of had a chip on my shoulder because I'm okay, I'm literally working with the most senior devs in our organization, because our team was kind of known as the firefighter team. So whenever we were dealing with a ship blocker, because Minecraft ships to a bunch of different platforms and there's nuances in how we ship, our team would be hit. So we're balancing that while trying to work on system improvements and then working on major updates. So being the PM on that meant I need to really work on understanding all of those systems and then facilitating how we're dealing with requests and still making sure we're progressing on our company goals. Because I know a big thing we wanted to balance was how are we making all these system improvements while still making sure we clean up technical debt, which I know is in a lot of tech companies. Look, I gotta get techie because there's a reason I had to balance. So I'm doing this every single day of being really deep in tech, and my only creative outlet was, again, the life I've built outside of here. So when I got the opportunity to work for like do Block Buzz every month. It was so much fun. And the way it happened was because I just put myself out there. So after the rehearsals, then we got into taping. Now, what was beautiful is that I would typically be able to just like tape my segment beforehand, and then we would live stream the entire episode. So live streaming it was super cool because, you know, Minecrafters are super passionate. And when they see a new face, they're like, who is this? And it was actually so cool because I got received so well by the Minecrafters. Like, they're like, who is she? She's so pretty. And I especially love that because at the time I had blue hair. I had new hairstyles every time. And it was just so cool how much folks welcomed me. And like after every single month, low key, my personal audience was kind of growing too, or some recognition, where even somebody like commented under one of my YouTube videos saying like, oh, found you from Minecraft. And I'm like, oh my goodness. So while I was streaming every month, I also was fortunate to continue to network because a lot of folks were just like, wow, a Black woman in games, I wanna learn how to get in. And it was super great. All the conversations I had hopefully inspired folks to break into the industry no matter who you are. And one thing led to another. Give a shout out to Christopher Douglas, who is like my fam, okay? That is fam. Literally always goes hard for me. He helps with Game Camp with Xbox. So we would chat a lot about like, you know, my growth and my goals and everything. And then I think he's the one that connected me to Darrell Booker. And Darrell Booker runs the NTA. It was the ultimate program at Microsoft that would be tech. Basically, Microsoft had a program called NTA, which was essentially a tech accelerator for all these nonprofits. But I met Darrell, and that was another milestone in being able to merge my gifts and still driving so much impact in the tech space. So after we connected, he offered me the opportunity to come down to Atlanta and help tape tutorials for these nonprofits, because that's the point. These nonprofits use Microsoft products. And being someone that's not only worked in the gaming space with Microsoft, but both my internships were actually building the tools that these folks are actually using. It was such a full circle moment. And that was so cool because, oh my goodness, I am forgetting his name. And I'm gonna make sure I put it in the bio because he literally, no, I need to, you know when they say you need to give folks their flowers while they're here? This person, it's worth me in the video trying to find it because it's so important. Oh my goodness. Oh, okay, well, I'll put it in the bio, but it was such a beautiful time because I really felt like a star. So when I say I felt like a star, anyone that's like an indie creative and you're hosting something, I always feel it when someone else is doing my makeup or when someone else is doing my hair. And the hair part is very rare because my hair is typically in braids or locks. So like, what you gonna do to it with outside of what I already had? And that's what I loved about it. Not only was like my makeup kind of like touched up, but the way he did my locks was so royal looking and so like, it was just one of my favorite looks. And I just remember being so geeked out. I think his name was Alex. I think it was Alex. Oh my goodness, Alex, I hope your name is Alex. But Alex was used to being on really big sets. He's usually someone that's on big sets. So they had the best of the best working with me. And so after that opportunity, the next door that opened for me was REVOLT Conference. So everyone knows REVOLT is a big music entertainment conference. To get anywhere on that stage is just amazing. So, a lot of folks had been tossing my name around because they were gonna have a panel together when it comes to what it was like being Black at Xbox. Because to be honest, a lot of my experience, I had like a mostly positive experience, like compared to a lot of folks I know in different industries. Yes, there was nuances, but when we get to my future episode about career pivots, my best experiences in gaming were actually more in the corporate space than in the indie space. Man, that indie space, KO. Terrible. We'll get to that later. But I got the opportunity to speak at REVOLT, and that was super fun because my friend Deshauna came with me. So, and I actually was able to turn that one opportunity into 3 opportunities. First one was the actual panel itself, and it was really early in the day because Xbox had its own house in Atlanta at the REVOLT conference. And then after that, I did an impromptu interview with my future boss at the time. So that was really cool because I got to share my story and then got to give him that platform. And then the last thing was full circle because I got to introduce Erin. And Erin is one of those folks that if you're in the gaming space and looking at Black women, she always is someone that like inspired me. So I'm like, oh, she's so cool. She's a host, she's a content creator, and she's in this gaming space. So I got to interview her and Miss Basketball. And I got to introduce them. So it was just amazing. Like it literally only went up from there, all starting from just getting that big break from Minecraft to hitting the stage at REVOLT. Amazing. Anyways, that was my journey. I think the key lessons that if you take for this is you have to be courageous. Again, no one just explicitly invited me into these things without me being courageous enough to just put myself out there. If I had never been like, hey, I'm down to host this all hands webinar, if I didn't say yes, who knows how long it would have taken for people to see my personality and my passions without sacrificing the quality of my day job work in tech. The other thing is the right people will always support you. When I think about the people who always saw me, they could tell my passion and they could tell the impact I could make. And I didn't have to do that much convincing for them to see me. And fortunately, all those people, a lot of those people I mentioned that gave me my big break, I still talk to them today. And they still are folks that we support each other. And I think that's the next thing is like, one thing I've been very mindful of now is all the people who have opened doors for me. How do I make sure I circle back and do the same thing for them? And how do I make sure I leave the door open behind me? And also I had to make sure that I was navigating strategically, because every time I showed up in a tech role, I had to be my best. And part of that is simply because I am a Black woman in tech. So I knew that my pure existence in that role was going to be a proof point for folks around me to be like, hey, I do want to work with more people like her. If you are trying to figure out, okay, how do I balance all my gifts while I'm at this 9-to-5? Think strategically, like who around you is doing things you like to do? What kind of activations is your company doing that can allow you to use your gifts? You'd be surprised at how many opportunities you can find to do what you love to do while you're doing your 9-to-5. And then, you know, ultimately, if you're like, this is what I love to do, it's completely different from my 9-to-5, and it's to the point where my 9-to-5 is stopping me from doing it, that's another conversation, and you know what? I got an episode for that coming up soon too. Thank you again for tuning into another episode of Journey to Stardom. Please make sure you drop a like and a comment. Tell me what you think. Tell me what topics you want me to cover. And of course, subscribe and turn on your notifications if you haven't. Okay? Remember, dreams don't work unless you do. And you have the power to make every day a yay! Bye, my gems. Mwah.